Welcome to a brand new podcast. This is Everything with Everett, a podcast dedicated to hosting important conversations. Everything with Everett is hosted by Everett McConnaughey from Boise, Idaho. Everett is an Idaho native who is ready to share his thoughts and observations on a wide variety of subjects. Politics, science, faith, religion, technology, and so much in between. How did we get here? What can we learn from each other? How can we put the past into a healthy conversation that helps us grow tomorrow? This is Everything with Everett, a conversation worth having. Hey, so glad that you could join me today. I'd like to lighten up the mood this week and every week in the month of December, so I'm going to play some full-length holiday music, obviously stuff that I can share without having to buy a license. But I hope you enjoy, sit back, relax, and I'll be with you on the other side. Well, that was a fun song called Christmas Village. It is available from YouTube on the audio library in the Creator Studio. It's a open source video, audio file, so it doesn't require any type of license or acknowledgement, even though I'm giving it its acknowledgement. So if you'd like to listen to that song for yourself, by itself, or download it for your own use, head on over to youtube.com and look in the Creator Studio, and it's under the audio file or audio library section. Just search for Holiday and then also look for, I believe it's Christmas Village. Just type in Village. You should find it. So you wouldn't know this, but I know this. This is my second take because I had a mistake happened on my first attempt at this session, and hopefully everything's coming out great now. I probably should have just let it go, but I had a nice segue into what I'm about to do that I lost because I had to start over. So here's my non-segue into a sponsor. Today is a great day to start a podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more, within minutes of finishing your recording. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Let's create something great together. I totally love the folks at Buzzsprout. If you have ever missed any of my accolades on a previous video and recording. So I was talking to my fiance about the podcast lately, and it seems to really reflect this year. Everything's been kind of heavy, very in touch and down to earth, which is okay, but who really wants to listen to that? So my apologies if I've drug anyone else down. That's not at all what he was saying, but I don't know. I just had this thought. I was like, you know what? Would I want to listen to this? And that was something that I asked myself all the time when I was producing for KIDO and KBOI was, is this quality, audio quality, the segues, the volume, just the attention to detail, is this what if I was listening on the radio, is this what I would want to listen to? Well, the same thing goes here. Is this something that I would want to listen to? I don't listen to podcasts. I really don't. Maybe that's something weird for me to admit, but I really should. I have with Jeremy a few times when we took a road trip a while back, and we listened to Stuff You Should Know. That was a fun podcast. So I probably should listen to some podcasts just to get in the swing of things. But that's something I should keep in mind going forward, is when I'm producing this podcast that you are so graciously listening to and hopefully have subscribed to on many of the platforms that are popular. I hope that it's something that brings you happiness and is something that you enjoy listening to. So that is something that I'm striving for going forward. I've kind of let some of the first episodes have fallen off. Podcasts only survive on the feed list for 90 days. So I try to keep it fresh and relevant, but I'm trying to be more aware of the heavy nature of society in our world, and I don't want to be any contribution to any negative brain space for you guys. And frankly, I should find an outlet that helps me get out of mine. So I'm aiming for this to be that. And in the month of December, I am going to be playing some Christmas holiday music that I got from the YouTube audio library. Stuff that either I will play because it has a Creative Commons type of license, or well, I guess I don't know Creative Commons, but basically open source audio files. And then I also have some that require a Creative Commons Attribution number 4 license, and those have the text lined up in the post on the podcast on YouTube, and I will be doing an on-screen visual of what it is for those that watch the YouTube version. And by the way, if you like what you hear on the audio platform, wherever you're listening, there's a video version that has all of the audio. Plus, you can see any videos that are played. You can see my face. You can see the wonderful slideshow that I built for Buzzsprout to show some snippets of their interface. And it's just, I'm trying to provide a nice variety of ways for you to interact and see what I'm doing. I've got next to the video of me, I have a live screen grab of my audio playout system. And I don't know, it's stuff that I find intriguing, and I hope you do too as well. So if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, go to everettmcconaughey.com. That's my website. And on the top, there's a section that says YouTube. Click that. It will take you to the URL. I think it's like youtube.com/c/ Everett McConnaughey. Let me double check. Yes. Hello. Yeah. It's youtube.com/c/ Everett McConnaughey. And then that's my YouTube channel that's been around for a very long time. I also if you go to the playlist section, I've started a playlist called Everything with Everett Podcast. I'm starting to put that into the name too, so you should be able to search Everything with Everett Podcast in YouTube and start pulling up some other videos. But if you want to find all the ones that I post, I put them into that. Not everything is up there from the past, but if there's anything missing from the audio file list, either on iTunes, Google, Deezer, any of the other podcasting platforms that you're listening on. If you're missing one and you want to hear something again, check it out on YouTube. That's going to be the long-term archive. So, yeah. And since we're mentioning, where's my mouse? There we are. Since I'm mentioning the information online, I want to show you, if you're looking at the YouTube version, I'm going to show you my website. So this is the front page of the website. It is everettmcconaughey.com and comes up with a nice, says, has current weather for Boise. It changes the background based on time of day. Has some things that are important to me. I'm not quite sure what to put on this front page. I don't want to be too busy. I kind of like the minimalist look, but I also don't want it to be lacking. So I've got kind of a highlight. You can see currently I've got the title for this podcast, Roses or Thorns, which is something I'm about to read you in a few minutes. And then a link to the podcast tab. If you click over on the podcast tab, again, if you're looking on the YouTube version, has a quick link across the top, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, TuneIn, Deezer, drop down that gives you the phone number, the email link. It says podcast contact. If you click that, it's a pre-built link that should open up either your, if you're on a desktop, it should open up a window or an email client. If you're on your phone, it also should open up the email client, but it should pre-fill out the address to email it to, as well as a subject line. And then all you have to do is type out the body, and then it kind of lets me know kind of why you're contacting me. It lets me know that you came from the website. And then also on the podcast page, you can see all the current episodes that are available on the audio feed player. There's a player. You can listen to it straight from the website. Also, if you would like to subscribe to any of the other platforms that I'm on, there is a bunch of boxes down on the bottom of the podcast page, and it has every single URL that I'm aware of to subscribe to the podcast on a platform. Also, if you have some type of podcast player or service that you like to use, and if by chance I'm not on it, a lot of them allow you to manually add an RSS feed, and I am providing that as well in the middle of the dark blue section. Very bottom says RSS feed. Just click that, copy the link, and paste that into your favorite podcast library or retriever, and you can take a look at my podcast. You can listen to the podcast on any platform or service that you're wanting to use that I might not be part of. So enjoy that. Also, you can visit my Facebook page. It is Everything with Everett, a podcast by Everett McConnaughey. The end of the URL is Everett McConnaughey, so facebook.com/Everett McConnaughey. You can subscribe there to text updates, interact. I post videos, post audio versions of the podcast. It's got my phone number. So if you ever like to call or text, say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, just heard this. And I'd like this to be, an interactive type podcast, as I said before. That phone number, if you ever feel inclined, go ahead and save it in your phone, is area code 208-391-2808. You can send a text any time of day. You can also call it. It'll go straight to voicemail. Leave a message with your name and your thoughts. And if you'd like, and say I will be happy to play those commentary on a future podcast. so we can have a kind of a two-way dialogue at some point. Also, if you go to Twitter, I'm there as well. It's twitter.com/Everett Podcast. Got videos that I post there. A lot of the same content that I have on the Facebook page. But I also like to ask polling questions. So back on the 14th, I asked, what are your general feelings about COVID-19 as we go into winter? And 83% of the respondents said we aren't doing enough. I also asked on the 19th of November, I said, what are your plans for Thanksgiving 2020? I gave 3 options: stay at home, visiting family or friend, or working. And it was kind of a two-way split out of there. 14.3 respondents said, 14.3% of respondents said they were staying at home. And then 42.9% of the respondents said they were either visiting family or a friend, or they're working. So that's kind of fun. I try to find other ways to be interactive with people as well on other platforms. You could also answer a poll and do an @ reply. That's the YouTube. Also, if you go to podcast.everettmcconaughey.com, it also piggybacks off of my website. That's the native player from Buzzsprout, and it actually shows you all. Oh, wow. Podfriend. There's some new ones on here that I'm just now seeing. It takes you to all the services that they are syndicating my podcast to. So you can go click on any of the links and go straight there. Again, you can play them from there, and it's quite nice. And then also it has links back to my website, Instagram, at Everett McConnaughey. So either everettmcconaughey.com/podcast or podcast.everettmcconaughey.com. Either way, they both link back to each other at some point, so you can find either one, whichever one you're having trouble remembering, and find out where to subscribe from there. So let me go ahead and turn this off. And we'll transition that off. All right. So I want to read a quote to you. I switched over to the quote, but it doesn't have the... It cut the audio off. So let me bring it up real quick on the web browser like I was doing a second ago. This is from 2010. It's a blog called Wellness Words of Wisdom. And I saw this quote the other day that said, from Abraham Lincoln, and it supposedly says, again, we don't know if he truly, I don't know if he truly said this, but it's attributing the quote to him, so we'll take it at face value. It says, we can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses. Abraham Lincoln. Don't know when he said that, where, or anything like that. But it's kind of a nice reminder that you can take something and look at it from two different directions. And obviously one of them has a more positive tone to it. So you can choose to be like, oh, beautiful rose bush, but it's got thorns, and see the negative. Or you can say, hey, that's a thorn bush, but boy, does it have beautiful roses. So you can choose, basically it's about choosing the positive. And then underneath that title, I guess is what it is, there's a text that I really like, and I'd like to read that to you. Let me zoom in so that you folks reading on or watching on YouTube can see this. Slowly scroll that here. There we go. All right. So it says, I was swinging under the maple tree the other day, admiring from afar my neighbor's rose bushes. They wound around the trellis, creating a stunning archway of pinkish red blossoms, like a giant headdress. I was tempted to approach them and fill my nostrils with their unmistakable scent. From a distance, Thorns did not exist. They did not even occur to me. I only saw roses. That is how I want to live my life. In life, we often focus on the thorns, the difficulties, the problems. We talk about the prickly parts of our day and what went wrong. It makes for a more sensational story, which will hold the interest of our listeners. But like the prick of a thorn, we re-experience the negative emotions and feel the pain anew as we recount our tale of woe. Stress chemicals get a second run at coursing through our depleted bodies. Can we instead count each blossom as a blessing and breathe in the scent of our joyous moments? Can we cultivate our garden of goodness, tending to each blossom as we lovingly navigate around the thorns of discord? Dwell on the roses of your life. Forsake the thorns. Count your blessings, not your woes. And that was something that really inspired part of this mission to be more of a positive source in the month of December, and kind of going forward, just trying to not be so negative. And I really like that line about reliving the trauma and the stress. It's okay to talk about something, but I've noticed that even myself, there are negative things this year that I re-traumatize myself with recalling all of the grueling details. And it's not healthy to do that to yourself. It's not healthy to do that to others. And I think we should be a bit cognizant about that. I think that's a lot of why you see a lot of people not liking when people reshare the 9/11 pictures. It's important not to forget moments, that's for sure. But it's rather abusive to yourself and to the society around you to force people to relive that day and bring up the sights, sounds, and visuals that they saw and witnessed in those moments. And they're totally yours. You don't have any control over what they see or don't see in their minds, and it's kind of rude to just throw that out there. So that was my inspiration to change course, and hopefully it touches you as well. And also to try to lighten the moment and festiveness of the season. So first, what is your favorite holiday song? Christmas Carol. I feel like I'm leaving out some other religion. I'm sorry if I just say Christmas. I mean everything. So if you've got like a favorite holiday song, and holiday is not offensive to me, like it's inclusive and it means loving everybody. So I say Christmas because that's my native approach, but I also acknowledge holiday. So what is your favorite holiday? Christmas song, Kwanzaa song, Hanukkah song, any holidays out there? What's your favorite? Send me a text, 208-391-2808. Hey, if you even have some commentary, go ahead and give me a call. Leave a voicemail. Tell me what your favorite song is. Maybe we can play it, or at least mention it. Anyway, my favorite song, and it doesn't matter what version. I like the vocal versions, the instrumental versions, the light versions, the dark versions. My favorite song is Carol of the Bells. I like it because I can gauge my mood and my mind. If I'm in a really good place, it's a nice, happy, cheery song. If I'm a little bit on the dark side, a little depressed, a little down, a little blue, it's a very dark song and kind of a naggingness to it. Kind of like, it's Christmas. Look where you are, kind of a thing. So I don't know, it's just my favorite song because no matter what mood you're in, you can see this song and hear it from a different perspective. So here, with proper attributions, Creative Commons licensing and whatnot, is Carol of the Bells. Anyway, like I said, my favorite song, I just love that organ in the background. I think I maybe heard one version that I was like, that's kind of a bad version. But truthfully, there's not a bad version of Carol of the Bells. Anyway, I hope I've been a more positive experience for you today, and I look forward to being a positive experience for you as well throughout the rest of December with the Christmas music. Coming in January, going to be a new layout of the program, different music, different liners. I'm trying not to get stuck in a rut and trying to make this a fun experience for myself and a fun experience for you. Trying to highlight things in a timely fashion, but also not be a repeater of what you already know. So anyway, again, I would love to have your feedback. If there's anything you'd like to share, just let me know on Twitter, Facebook, text, or voicemail. It's all there for you. So just going to kill a little bit of time here because I got my cropped music bed for the end of the show. Into my outro liner. Should be starting here in just a few moments. I built this file since it was kind of hard to time things out. So I was like, if I build this file with silence in the middle, it'll be a straight 30 minutes every time. But I didn't think about this whole little dead segue. Maybe I should throw back in the fade up on the music just so that it's there. But anyway. Yeah. This is all the fun things about, live recordings and radio, and you just kind of have to play through it. Seconds take forever when you're watching the clock. But when you're having fun and doing something else, they just fly by. It's kind of like life, I guess. But anyway, let's anytime. I think it's coming up here. My apologies. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm happy that you listened. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and I hope that we talk real soon. You can join the conversation anytime. Call or text 208-391-2808. Also, you can connect on Twitter. Look for @EverettPodcast. Listen to all available episodes of Everything with Everett, as well as find out where to subscribe. More information at everettmcconaughey.com/podcast.